and you know how to find success based on establishing goals for yourself and then crushing them. Even if it takes some time, you know you're going to get there. The question I have for you is, how do you want to feel? Hello, welcome to the Business of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy, and today is going to be a great day. Today is phenomenal because we are redefining success for ourselves. This is the core of what I've been thinking about recently. What does success mean to you? And have you been living someone else's definition of success? In fact, success is nothing if it doesn't include this. And what this is understanding, reaching for, dreaming of what it is you want to feel. You know, it struck me recently that we define success for ourselves with such external validation, such interesting ways of measuring success that are completely outside of ourselves. If you think about it, like if I said to you, what is success or what would success look like for you? You might be thinking numbers in terms of dollars or numbers in terms of the age that you want to retire or numbers in terms of likes on social media, depending on what your business is, numbers in terms of number of patients that you treat in a year if you're in healthcare, as I am, numbers in terms of number of dollars sitting in your 401k, numbers in terms of number of books that you've published. We tend to use these very measurable things to evaluate our level of success. And while measuring is so important, and I strongly believe in establishing a measurement so that you can really set a goal and then achieve it and recognize it when you achieve it. Goal setting is so important in terms of having something that's tangible to measure, but it doesn't always have to be outside of ourselves. In fact, success is nothing if it doesn't include how you feel. So maybe that new number is how many hours a day you are spending in the feelings that you want to feel as a successful person, as a successful business owner, as a successful leader, as a successful mom, as a successful human being. Have you ever thought about defining success for yourself based on the way you want to feel? You know, I was sitting in the car with my oldest the other day. I was driving her home. We're in the Jeep. I have the roof off because that is a prerequisite for summer in Maine. Even when it's raining, it takes a lot for me to put the roof back on. My kids are used to getting drenched in the summer in Maine with my Jeep with the roof off. So we were driving home and the wind just felt so glorious. And she was in such a good place and I was in such a good place. And she was sharing something really personal with me, a way she feels, the way she has recognized herself holding back in terms of allowing those feelings. And as we were heading home, I knew I had to get dinner ready. I knew that my other kids were waiting for me. I had this sudden inspiration. The moment was so delicious. I just pulled over. There's a river that we cross over on the way home. And I just pulled over and we sat by the river. I turned the engine off and I just turned and faced her and was fully present for her. We sat there for, I don't know, was it 20 minutes? Just really enjoying this conversation, being really vulnerable with one another, and me just hearing her and being fully present for her and letting go of the urgencies, the expectations, when dinner should be ready, what I needed to get done in order to get up and be ready for work the next morning, emails that were hanging over my head. And I just loved that moment with her. And it struck me that everything I was feeling in that moment felt like success. that what I was reaching for so long in my desire for success in my life was actually the feeling of freedom and connection and ease. I never noticed that before. I never noticed that anytime I ever imagined for myself, what does success look like? I was designing things outside of myself to define and to make me feel freedom, connection, and ease. And I, in that moment, felt like the richest woman in the world. What I had allowed myself to do was put aside all my stresses and concerns and limitations to give myself a moment to live in the moment, to feel the ease and the joy of it, to fully receive that moment, to fully receive that connection with my daughter. It was so big for me. I was so in love with her in that moment, so present with her, but I was also really in love with myself, really proud of myself for letting go of all those, ridiculous man-made urgencies that are completely false. We tell ourselves we have to eat by a certain time. We have to have something ready by a certain time. And I had in my head the time my husband was going to be getting home from work. I had in my head the time that my other daughter needed to be ready for bed. So we had to eat within a certain time. We create these urgencies that are fictitious, that rob us of the moment. And I realized, oh, that's what success is to me. Success is a completely inside job. Not one part of that was defined by money, wealth, other people's validation of me. I used to think that success for me would be when other people accepted the help and support and empowerment that I was giving them. And I realized, wow, I can reach for success and that feeling of success in a much simpler way, just by being present to receive the love and connection of the person in front of me. I can actually live in the feeling of success right now. And really, that's the gift of asking yourself, what does success feel like to me? How do I create a picture, paint a portrait of success in terms of what it feels like? Because I think we put numbers and material things out there thinking that they'll bring us success. So one example would be money, right? I think at one point in our lives, all of us felt like, and maybe some of us still do, and please, no judgment on my part, if the definition of success for you looks like a certain number, a certain dollar sign. Interestingly, too, we've all read the research that once you reach $75,000 a year, money actually doesn't improve your happiness. That being in America in this time. So why are we reaching for more than that, right? Why are we thinking that more money will bring us that feeling of success? And maybe more money will bring you that feeling of success, but what is the feeling of success that you're going after? So something that you might recognize is, oh, it's the freedom of time. Or maybe it's the freedom of opportunity. Or maybe it's the permission of how I spend my time, the permission to spend the time that I have the way I want to. And it's so interesting because when we start to look at what does success feel like instead of what does it look like, what does it feel like, we start to realize that actually I have some of those opportunities available to me right now. And what if I lived from a space of, I'm already successful. I'm already there. And if I'm not there, what is the feeling I've got to find? I used to think that success for me would look like a community of support, people who really saw me for who I am, people who loved me for who I am. And then I realized I was really begging the wrong people to love me for who I am. I was fighting a community of people to say, see me, love me, when they really were having a hard time seeing and loving themselves. And when I let go of trying to force it with a certain group of people, I saw that I actually had a wealth of people around me who actually loved me for who I was. And I was able to be my authentic selves with them. Isn't that interesting? It was just recognizing what the feeling was. The feeling was just, I want to be accepted. I thought I had to do it in a different way. I thought I had to prove myself to a certain group of people or a certain kind of person. I thought that that validation would make me feel successful. Actually, fighting for it and pushing for it was actually doing the opposite. It was making me feel worse. And then I also imagined at one point, what is the feeling I'm feeling all day long? You know, I recognized once I'd achieved all my success algorithms, once I've achieved the beautiful house, the fancy car, the beautiful practice that was doing really well. My orthodontic practice was one of the most successful practices in the entire state. I had a phenomenal team of women working with me. We were changing people's lives one smile at a time, empowering young patients and older patients to find the empowerment within themselves and the tools within themselves to transform their smiles and to do hard things. I mean, I was really proud of what I was doing. And then I asked myself, well, what is the feeling that I'm living in most of the day? How many hours of the day am I feeling phenomenal? Because here I've achieved all those measurements of success that I'd established for myself. And I realized, wow, if I'm not living in the space of freedom, ease, and connection most of the hours of the day, is this even success? Is success even a thing if I'm not feeling it? If I've got everything available to me and I've knocked off all those goals on my list, if I have achieved everything I set out to achieve, because there's one thing I know about incredible women and men, like listeners of my podcast, who are high achieving, service oriented, wanting to make huge changes in this world, wanting to make a massive impact in their communities. If there's one thing I know about you, you can make things happen. You're not somebody who needs to learn how to show up. You're not somebody who needs to learn how to find the compounding effect of taking one step at a time. You can put in the work. If you identify with what I'm saying, you know what I mean. If you have said to yourself, I am the hardest working person in the room, then I am speaking to you. You know how to make things happen. And you know how to find success based on establishing goals for yourself and then crushing them. Even if it takes some time, you know you're going to get there. The question I have for you is, how do you want to feel? If you're listening to this podcast, chances are you didn't get into business to be miserable. The problem is that people feel that if their business gets busier, if they start becoming more successful, that happiness will eventually set in. But it can actually get worse. This is why I created the Business of Happiness Prosperity Coaching. In this one-on-one coaching, we look at how to redefine success on your terms and re-find the joy and the passion in your dream. Visit me at thebizofhappiness.com and become the happiest business owner you know. Have you ever incorporated that question into your algorithm of success? Because when I started doing that, my friends, it changed my life. It not only opened up my eyes to see that a lot of the things I was chasing down in terms of what I thought success would look like for me were not actually things I wanted to go after. Number one, they were things that I thought would make me feel good, but they actually made me feel exhausted, overwhelmed, anxious, tired, angry, bitter, resentful. I could go on. But also I realized success actually is how many hours of a day I spend in the place I want to be in terms of my feelings. And for me right now, that looks like freedom. Freedom from urgency, freedom from expectations, freedom from time, freedom to be myself, to say what I want to say, freedom to love who I want to love, freedom to spend my time the way I want to spend it, to luxuriate, freedom to receive the beautiful things this world has to offer. That's a big one for me, the feeling of freedom. And then the second one is ease. I actually want easy success. I want easy life. I want to easily reach for my dreams. Now, let me tell you a caveat here. I am extremely passionate. And when I say passionate, I mean I dive in head first. I have in the past identified with somebody who is all or nothing. When I run a marathon. I don't just run a little bit. And I've learned that I don't have to define myself by this old definition of success of all or nothing. There's actually something greater that I can reach for, and that is ease. Can a glorious, successful, high achieving life and business actually look easy and fun and joyous instead of forced? So now my definition of success looks more like freedom, ease, and then connection. And that deep one-on-one connection is my love language. Quality time is my love language. And every day I realize how true that is for me. But that one-on-one connection, not just with another human being, but with my higher self, with myself, is so important. When I live more hours of my day, giving myself permission to feel truly connected with another person or with myself or with the universe, with nature, just that sense of connection. I think it's a human thing for us that we love to feel connected. When I allow myself that feeling, that feels like success. That feels phenomenal to me. And it's interesting because I don't tie a dollar sign to any one of those. Of course, dollars will allow me more freedom of time. And of course, dollars allow me to fly to meet up with my girlfriend I'm so excited to see in a couple of weeks, to maintain and support that connection with her. But really, what it's about is the connection, is the feeling of the acceptance and the love and being seen by another human. That to me is the essence of success that I'm reaching for. Imagine a world where we no longer define success by things outside of ourselves, but rather by the feelings we want to feel. And maybe there's a new way to find that feeling that you hadn't considered before. And maybe those external things, those things outside of you that you thought were definitions of success for you, are doing the opposite, actually making you feel the opposite of what you actually want to feel. So imagine a world where when someone says, "What's your definition of success?" you actually explain and define and describe your version of success based on the feelings that you want to feel. And then you give yourself permission to reach for them and go for it, despite what other people think or say. I think an important part of that is reconnecting with and allowing ourselves to feel. That's been a big journey of mine, is giving myself permission to feel feelings, and not just the happy ones, but really allowing myself to feel the difficult ones. In fact, that's the conversation my daughter and I were having in the Jeep on that miraculous day along the riverbed. She was saying that she hasn't allowed herself to feel anger, and that by preventing herself from feeling that feeling. It was actually preventing her from feeling the other beautiful feelings as well. And her insight was so beautiful to me on that day. And I realized connecting with how we feel is more important than ever because it happens anyway. We either accept those feelings and we allow them to flow through us, or we punch them down and they swell, they get bigger. And so I would love to invite you to evaluate, how do you feel? Just check in with yourself. How are you feeling today? And instead of just answering, great, good, really sit with it and find out, yeah, how do I feel today? And where is that relative to the successful feelings that I know and desire and am reaching for in terms of a gorgeous, beautiful life? Allowing ourselves to feel the feelings that don't feel so great, but then reaching for more and more of the feelings that we desire, we dream of. I actually have found a lot of support in meditation, in allowing myself to feel through the help of guided meditation. So I invite you to check out on my website, thebizofhappiness.com. You'll see there's a free downloadable meditation. I created this one specifically for leaders because I find so many times business leaders, leaders of their families, leaders of their own lives, we're on such a path to creation and growth and expansion and achievement that we very easily can train ourselves out of feeling anything. And it's when we start to tuck into our feelings when we really see next level success. So I created this meditation. I welcome you to download it. It's completely free. It's on my website, thebizofhappiness.com, and it's specific to leaders. It's 15 minutes long. And if you've never meditated before, do not feel intimidated by it at all. This is a supportive meditation. It's a guided meditation. It also gives you some time there to start growing the skill of meditation on your own without someone's voice. So you're going to love it. It's a nice launching pad for taking on this new habit. And if you're a skilled meditator, I'd love you to check it out too, because I would love to hear what you think about it. The specific intention of this meditation is to get back in touch with how you feel. And so I've created this really cool way of looking at and reconnecting with our feelings, with our bodies and how we feel. And then use that as a launch pad to redefine success for yourself. Give yourself an opportunity to just journal a little bit about, what does success really look like for you? And what does that feel like for you? And starting from that place of what success feels like, could you even imagine that some of it is available to you right now? Well, I'm eager to hear what you think. I'm eager to hear how this changes a perspective for you. So send me an email and let me know what you thought of the meditation. And I'd be happy to support you in any way. You can reach me at any time at Tarryn@thebizofhappiness.com. And thank you. Thank you for being open to seeing success differently. Thank you for being courageous enough to look at how you feel, because it's scary for a lot of people. Just like it was scary for my daughter to even imagine that she might feel anger. That's courageous work, but it's necessary work. And it's the work that we need to teach our daughters so that they can reach for true levels of success and happiness. Because remember, it's when you feel good that you can actually make some great, great changes and positively impact people in this world. When you feel good, that's when you can really do good. Bye-bye.